How's it going, everybody? We are looking at the support class this time. We're looking at the machine guns. First up is the Lewis gun, your starter. It has 47 rounds with a 480 rate of fire. The optics aren't wonderful, it takes up quite a bit of your screen, but all in all, it still aims straight. It's not going to bounce around too much on you until you get to the further ranges. So it's still very effective in medium to short range. You still will get outgunned at point blank by a lot of the assault weapons. Occasionally the medic class, so long as they hit mid body. But it doesn't take too many rounds to kill. I'm looking about 10 rounds to the chest, around there. Its reload is nothing to be spectacular. It's not as slow as some of the others, but it is on the shorter end of the stick there. Long range is definitely hard to hit. There is also, with most of the machine guns that I was using, there seems to be quite a bit of velocity drop off when you get to further ranges. About 20 meters, you're going to have to aim a little bit ahead of your target, not a lot. But as soon as you start to get that 20 meter range, you're going to have to start aiming ahead of them, which was a little annoying, sitting on a base with an enemy knowing you had to aim ahead. This guy, for instance, I had the height advantage, but I was still having to aim ahead, even though he was kneeling down, crawling. It also comes with this optic if you liked to use it. Gave it a little bit more of a distance to it, but personally I didn't like it. I felt like it was really in my way. I had to show that spawn in because that was just absolute insanity. But bringing up the M1909 Bennett Marie, I believe is what it's called. I'm not quite sure, so don't quote me on that. This has 30 rounds with a 450 rate of fire. This thing hits a lot harder than the Lewis gun did. With its 30 rounds, it should. It can take down enemies quite fast. I also like the fact that you can actually see your ammo visually. You don't even have to look. So if you're playing in hardcore or have your HUD off, you can actually see how much ammo you have, which is a nice thing to have. You saw me there aiming ahead. I was using the Lewis gun before this, so I was trying to aim ahead, and this one does not need it as much. But as you can see coming up, I do have to aim a bit ahead of a few people. All the machine guns seem to be around there. The meta class isn't too bad about it, but most of the other classes seem to have a little bit of a thing with it. As you can see, not too far ahead, but just a bit. Now this thing is a bit more effective at range than the Lewis gun, which was really nice to see. It definitely does the most damage out of all of the weapons per bullet wise. It has quite a bit of slow shooting, but it does a lot of damage. So if you're mainly going for damage, this is the weapon for you. It also has a sniper scope if you choose to use that particular one. Now it has a bipod as well with the scope, so you can, lay down, get ready. You can camp if you really want, but mainly it's meant to support your team. Although putting the sight on just shows you how accurate it truly is. It doesn't move around really at all, as you can see here. It is accurate as can be. Later on I do get into the bipod a little bit. I start shooting toward D base from a decent range, about medium range, and all my shots land perfectly. And as you can tell, this one you don't have to aim as far ahead as the Lewis gun was. So I personally liked this weapon over the Lewis gun, but getting into the further weapons, I didn't see this one as being as useful, mainly because of its slow fire rate. But all in all, still fun to use. The Madsen MG was good, but you burn through ammo pretty quick. With 30 rounds, it was doing a 540 fire rate, which doesn't seem high, but compared to all of its other weapons in the category, this was shooting really quick. You definitely burned through ammo. It didn't do ton of damage, but with how quickly you were shooting, it felt like you were doing a ton of damage. It seemed like a normal machine gun that we've seen in past Battlefield games. The only other thing that can really be said about this is the grip helps to a point. Now, medium range, you're going to have to... You can go full auto if you really choose to, but if you're looking for pure accuracy, you want to save your ammo. As you can see, I'm shooting long range here. And what I was doing was tap firing as quickly as possible. So if you really listen for it, you can hear me tap firing, basically bursting it a little bit at long range. The only other complaint that you can obviously see here is the magazine takes up quite a bit of your screen. The Automatico doesn't take up as much as this because this one's a heavy weapon, I guess. It had to be larger. Why not? Otherwise, this has a very short time to kill, which makes it very, very deadly in close quarters and at medium to medium range. Definitely not long range. You can also hip fire this weapon pretty accurately. I wouldn't just go running into any base fighting assault with it, but it definitely is a good contender to fight at those kind of ranges. I still wouldn't recommend just bull rushing into a building and trying to take down everyone. But it was fun to use. Now, the MG15NA was, in my opinion, the most support weapon of the group, based on Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Bad Company, and all those. This, took us back to the 100 bullets where it feels like an MG. It feels like a machine gun. It looks like a machine gun, feels like one, It does pretty decent damage, right up there next to, I'd say, the Lewis gun, right about as how I was hitting people. It has a decently short time to kill if you can just land 1 or 2 headshots or land all body shots. Its suppression on this thing is surprisingly good. As you can see here, I got in a fight with another person using it, and the suppression really threw my aim off along with his. The weapon can overheat if you fire too many rounds. It'll start to overheat, so you have to watch how much you're shooting, basically. You need to give it a little bit of time. Now, I was using with this, I was using the grenade spamming method that was in the beta. Hopefully they've taken that out, but seeing as I didn't have it really any assault to help me, as you can see, if you threw a grenade, you could throw down another ammo pack and it would give you another grenade instantly as the ammo pack hit the ground. So you could just throw light tank grenades at tanks all fucking day. And as soon as they all bailed out, you have 100 bullets, you can take all of them out. It was no problem. Now this also has another thing, another weapon type that came with 200 rounds, was called the suppress, basically like a suppressor. Had 200 rounds with a scope and a bipod. Now, the 200 rounds definitely comes in handy. The scope was very accurate. It's an accurate weapon. The bipod obviously makes it a little bit more accurate if you're wanting to lean on something. Other than that, personally, I prefer the iron sight, as you can tell. But this is the scope. I didn't love it too much, but it was still decent enough to use. Next time I'll be doing the medic weapons and the rifles, so I will see you all then. Peace.